I'm back once again, so check me out. Recently I was on IG and I was scrolling through and I saw this weird post. On my IG, randomly, it talks about King James. He wrote a demonology book, and check this out. This is crazy.
King James I, the man behind the King James Bible, had his mother Mary, Queen of Scots, locked up and then executed, allegedly. He worked with his aunt, Queen Elizabeth I, to make it happen. Why? So he could secure his place as King of England. That's not exactly the kind of story you'd expect from someone tied to the Bible, is it? But it doesn't stop there. James had a thing for demonology. He wasn't just curious about it, he wrote an entire book, Demonology, all about witches, demons, and their nasty tricks. And this is the same guy who decided, hey, I should translate the Bible for everyone. And then there's his personal life. Rumors say he had questionable relationships with men, including his cousin, and he wasn't exactly known for being morally upright. Yet this is the man people trust for one of the most influential versions of the Bible. Do you see the problem here? Now let's talk about the translation itself. King James didn't write the Bible, but he commissioned it to solve political and religious problems in his kingdom. It wasn't just about faith, it was about control. He needed a version of the Bible that supported his rule and brought peace to a divided nation. That's the agenda nobody talks about.
Alright, so he wrote a demonology book. It was all about witches, werewolves, vampires, and it was literally 14 years before he ended up publishing the King James Bible. That's one of the most circulated Bibles known to man. Honestly, like, most people have touched a King James Bible. I currently own one. So for him to do all of this allegedly, I mean, we can look up some of this information, fact check it to be true or not. All right.
Let's dive into the fascinating, eerie world of King James and the book he wrote about demons, Daemonology, and why it even came to exist in the first place. Who was King James? King James VI of Scotland, later James I of England, ruled from 1567 in Scotland and from 1603 in England. He's most famously known for commissioning the King James Bible in 1611. But before that holy endeavor, he was deeply involved in the darker side of things: witch hunts, demons, and supernatural fears. This was a time when Europe was obsessed with the idea that witches and demons were real threats, working against God. James didn't just believe in them, he felt personally threatened by them. Why did he write Daemonology? In 1590, King James was traveling back from Denmark with his new bride, Anne of Denmark. During the voyage, they were hit by violent storms. People blamed witches for conjuring the bad weather to try to kill the king. This led to the North Berwick witch trials in Scotland. The king himself got involved in the interrogations, yes, personally, and became convinced that witches were out to harm him. All this led him to publish Daemonology in 1597. It was essentially his manifesto on the reality of witchcraft, demons, necromancy, possession, and sorcery. And it was his way of warning the public and justifying the persecution of witches. What's inside? Daemonology? Oh man, it's a wild ride. Here's what you'll find. Witches flying on broomsticks. Yes, this book helped popularize
Man, that's crazy, man. That's real crazy. That's crazy.
Incubines. Demonic seducers. Instructions on identifying witches. Arguments in favor of executing witches for their crimes against God and the state. Distinctions between types of magic, like necromancy, illusions, and demonic trickery. James structured the book like a philosophical dialogue, where one character defends witchcraft's reality and the other questions it, before ultimately agreeing it's all real and dangerous. Forward-thinking perspective. This book was more than just superstition. It was political, religious, and strategic. James was asserting divine authority, justifying executions, and aligning his rule with God's will. His demonology helped create the climate of fear that influenced the Salem witch trials decades later in the American colonies.
Wow.
Eventually, as he matured, King James actually grew more skeptical of witch trials and even ordered some to stop due to lack of evidence. But by then, the damage had been done. Demonology had already lit a fire. Would you like me to break down?
No, thank you, ChatGPT. But anyway, that was insane in the membrane, man. Anyway, that's pretty crazy. I mean, the guy, he was leaving Denmark after getting married on a voyage, and it was a crazy intense storm, and he thought witches were trying to kill him. So I think the dude lost his mind. Let's check out some witch footage. How about that? I used to date this girl who did hoodoo. She was from Trinidad, and I tore a ligament in my leg one time. I blame that shit on her. I couldn't walk for like 6 months, bro.
A witch might be standing right behind you. Some places conceal things that should never be seen, and one man learned this the hard way. Inside an old, abandoned building, he spotted a woman. She was thin, almost skeletal. He wanted to believe she was ordinary, but before he could even process what he was seeing, she began to rise into the air, as if gravity no longer applied to her. That's when it hit him.
That is so fake. I know there's like some fishing line attached to this skeleton that they bought on Temu. There's no way this is real.
This wasn't just any apparition. It was La Llorona, the legendary weeping woman of Mexican folklore. He didn't wait to find out what happened next. He turned and ran, never stepped. When the footage reached the online community, gained attention. Some believed it was the Grim Reaper coming to take him away. Others believed.
And that's fake too, man. Come on, bro. Come on. They in the middle of Tijuana, Mexico, and they got this lady jumping out the top of this truck. There's no way this is real.
It was a shadow following him because that hotel was haunted. But with the ending abruptly, we could never know what it was. Crawling lady. A man returned to his old home after years, expecting nothing but memories. Instead, he found something horrifying.
Let's see what he found. All right, bro. Let's see what he found. Let's see what this guy found.
He found something strange. A huge hole in the ground, almost like a grave. That's when he felt it. A presence. Something was near. Trusting his instincts, he started reciting holy verses. And then, it happened. A dark figure slowly rose from...
Stop the cap. Who would be recording this premature? Like, you know, as if something was going to pop out the ground. Anyway, I don't think witches are real, but clearly King James did. He wrote a book about it. I mean, but if we think Christianity is real, we think God is real, and also demons are real, and the same God published both, which is insane. Maybe witches are real. Who knows? But thanks for stopping by watching my video. It may not be much, but I'm gonna keep pushing these bad boys out. But if you subscribe currently, I think you should unsubscribe, because this shit's gonna be trash, bro. Get out while you still can. I'm just kidding. Peace.